So since the last show, we lost to an inferior opponent in the San Antonio Spurs. Even if things are going wrong against good opponents, shouldn't we still be able to beat the bad ones like the Spurs? Or did that game show how bad things really are? And also a nugget that I saw and a stat to consider. ESPN released a couple of stats for us to ponder, which were Harden is second in minutes played, only behind Devin Booker. And Harden has dribbled the ball 1,507 times compared to 1,242 dribbles for the entire roster combined going into last night's game. So with all that considered, what do you guys make of what's going on thus far this season for the team?
Well, I mean, as far as the Spurs game, I think I'm not in that locker room, but I think the way we approached that game, there was probably a lack of respect, lack of focus going into that game. I didn't know who their starters were. I'm just saying I didn't, as far as without looking at their roster, like I had no idea who they were starting outside of maybe Keldon Johnson. I had no idea who they would start. But you knew who they were once they started playing. I mean, they play hard. So the thing about them, they play hard and they make shots. They share the ball. They play together. So they play like a team. And that team can beat you on any given night. Now, if it was a playoff series, that team couldn't beat us. But they can beat you on any given night.
Popovich, baby.
Teams like that, say it again?
Popovich, baby.
Yeah, but what teams like that do is they kind of, I don't want to say open up situations for you, but they kind of are clarifying things. But when effort comes in and they're playing hard, they're competing, they're defending and making things tough on you, you can kind of see where holes are on your team when you play a team like that. So,
yeah.
Teja, what were your thoughts, man?
Going forward, it's 1-3 record. I mean, you can come back from it, and you've seen teams do it before. I mean, Boston Celtics was where were they in December around Christmas last season? They went to the finals.
It was rough.
Yeah. So it can happen. I think it's just, from us, it was so much enthusiasm, excitement going into the season, and having a full training.
Maybe too much.
Yeah, I mean, losing at Boston, losing to Milwaukee at home, you can kind of see it. I mean, even though they didn't have Middleton, but they are a team that can beat you. Losing those two games and then losing your home opener and then coming back your second home game and losing to a Spurs team does kind of like bring more questions because of that. And it was really a convincing win. Like it wasn't like it was, they looked like the better team and played better. So that was disappointing.
Teja?
Yeah, the Spurs were supposed to be our get right game, right? But I think the players more than anyone thought that as well. Like, this is our get right game, but you have to get the right. It's not just handed to you. And just because you go into it going, oh, we're better than the Spurs on paper, it's going to be fine. We'll just win because that's what we're supposed to do against an inferior team. But the effort wasn't there. Players still have to rebound. Players still have to run the floor and play defense and transition. Pirtle was grabbing rebounds like Dennis Rodman down the stretch, and we were trying to claw our way back, and it was just pathetic. I was just like, I was hitting my head just being like, man, I mean, you got to get a rebound. Our problems are still the same from the playoffs. I mean, did they think Tucker was just going to come and average 15 rebounds a game for us? It's not going to happen. Someone else outside of Embiid, and now Tucker, scrounging for rebounds in his 6'5" height, someone's got to do that. I mean, just the effort just not there, and it was pathetic to watch down the stretch, end of the stretch of that game. I'd say that game was definitely definitely a rock bottom just because, well, we can get worse. Let me put it that. Let's say that. But so far, because like you said, I can stomach a home opener, Celtics home opener loss. Okay. Milwaukee, really good team. They have a lot of continuity. I can stomach that, but getting beat handily by the bad Spurs team, man. I mean, maybe and maybe we're not being fair enough too. Who knows? Maybe the Spurs are like that team out of nowhere this year that like fights and becomes like a 7 or 8 seed in the West. It could happen. It's way too early. They could be better than what we know them to be right now, but they're not better than what we're supposed to be. So even if they are a 7 or 8 seed, we're still supposed to beat that kind of team at least by 7 or 8. I mean, or win it, period, not lose by double digits. Yeah, that was bad. And it was at Philly, which is like even worse. So the team aspect's one thing, but where it happens, even worse. Yeah, as far as the Harden stuff, so as of today, I checked today, he's tied for 7th in minutes. Still a lot. But our problem is that our bench has stunk the past 3 games. I feel like we're still back in the Miami series. And some of it maybe isn't fair because our bench is completely new. So it's not like there's any continuity there. They're totally new guys. We don't really have a guy off the bench to kind of become like a leader on the floor and distribute. So Harden kind of has to do that for the starters, and he's got to do it for the second unit too now. So he's back to OKC Harden and Houston Harden just full time all the time, second unit and starters. That's why he's playing so much because they don't have anyone to rely on the bench to kind of become the team, the floor leader. Because when Harden's gone, if you leave Maxey in there, that's great. But Maxey's not really looking to distribute like that when Harden's gone. He's like, okay, my time to score now. Now I'm going to get like 6 shots off in the next like 3.5 minutes, which is great. But you're not getting anyone else involved that way. So now you don't have a real point guard on the floor once Harden leaves. And Embiid's look like he's coming off of anesthesia. So at all times, he looks out of it. No energy. So I'm going to give it a little more time.
Oh my goodness! Did you just say anesthesia, man? Oh my goodness. Okay, go ahead.
You know, they're kind of like they're all slow and like, you know, like they're just, yeah, he just looks like he's on delay. Like he's on a bad Wi-Fi and everyone else is on like great Wi-Fi. I'm going to give it a little more time. I'm not going to be so hard on the bench because they're new players filling out new roles. The preseason's short. This is pretty much like preseason for them. Let them get their roles down. The starters, I don't have any excuses for because 4 out of 5 are returning, and the new starter is supposed to be a glue guy. So, but when the starters look so discombobulated, glue doesn't fix shattered glass. So what do you expect Tucker to do? Like hold it all together? So I mean, the dribbling, that doesn't bother me because he has to do all that to set up an offense right now because we don't have anyone else to do it. So the minutes will come down, I think, once we get our rotations and bench right. Then they're going to bring him down a little bit. So I'm not too concerned about that just yet.
Yeah, and it looks like we're still toggling with the our rotations and stuff. I mean, going to last night, Shake Milton got some decent minutes last night. I think it was his first time he actually got extended minutes so far in the first.
I think, right?
Yeah, I don't think he got any minutes yet. I think it was his first time in the rotation at all.
First time, yep.
I guess they're still perfecting that. I guess we're gonna see what that looks like going forward.
And Thybulle was on the floor long enough to blow his nose. That's a plus. Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
You find a way to say something negative about Thybulle.
That's not negative. No, at all.
That is negative. Everybody know that he hasn't played. But
it's not his fault.
But you didn't make that comment about Ferg.
That's true.
because Thybulle. Wait, hold on. Thybulle has been on the floor, but like for one play, and they yanked him again. This time he was actually on for like more than one play, so he was long enough to get a good nose blow. You know, that's why I said that. Yeah, Ferg's just like they had to revive him to get him on the floor. Yeah, but I mean, Thybulle just gets on for a second or two. There you go. I gave it to Ferg too. Yeah.